So thank you. So we have Jayadvaita Swami, the direct establishment of Prabhupada's sannyas, Prabhupada, and also Bhakti Vedanta book activity trustee also. So we have done also, so Prabhupada has wrote a lot of books also. We have seen that book of Niti Dharma that's written by him. So we like to welcome His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj by chanting Hare Krishna one time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Thank you all very much.
It's very friendly and very nice to hear from a great father who's traveling in the city. He'll be leaving actually tomorrow morning. So I thought maybe we should have a little hearing from him. After that, we'll also have a lecture in the other building. There are other people waiting for him also. We'll have up to 8 o'clock and then we'll have Krishna.
Thank you to everyone who's here. We're in ISKCON Atlanta. And we're reading from Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi Lila, chapter 6, text number 62. And the rules are that whenever you want, if you have a comment or a question, you're welcome to ask or raise your hand, and cell phones should be in silent mode. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Yamachmiran Tasya Jananjana Stolaya Chakshur Miditam Jena Tasmai Shri Buddhave Shri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Papitam Jena Buddhave Swayam Rupa Padamakyam Tathapi Shapadamikam Vande Ram Sri Guru Sri Tathagama Sri Guru Vaishnava Sri Rupam Sarvajatam Sagana Rabinatam Vitam Siddham Sadvaitam Sadvaitam Pravijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vikamashra Hey Krishna Holinam Smito Deenam Bhojya Pate Hey Krishna Holinam Radha Kanansivam Vistute Dr. Anushay Bhogavati Anat Vrindavaneshri Krishna Kanansivam Devi Mani Bhojya Vanchaho Padarupyastra Kripal Smito Pyecha Patitan Nam Devyo Vaishnavyo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayadvaita Swami Shivasani Prabhu Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram. In this section of Adivila, Caitanya Caritamrta, we're hearing about Sri Advaita Prabhu. When Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then his associates appeared with him. So they appear as the Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, and Sri Vajrani Gaura. So Sri Advaita Prabhu is the expansion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, incarnation. In their pastimes, Advaita Prabhu is senior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's older by years, and he's a disciple of the grand spiritual ministry of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's a co-disciple of Ishvara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master, co-disciple of Madhavendra, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master is Ishvara, and Advaita Prabhu is Jayadvaita and Vishnu. So in that way, also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeking. But Advaita Prabhu has the mood of being a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he's senior, he gives himself to be a servant of Lord Chaitanya, the original personality of God. So Jayadvaita Swami is giving evidence that this feeling of servitorship to Krishna is found in devotees in every relationship with Krishna. They're even found in the incarnations of Krishna. So now he's expanding the father of Krishna. Although he's senior to Krishna, he feels himself a servant of Krishna. So now we're continuing the narration. Sridhamari Vrajay Jata Shakar Nichoy Aishwarya Yanahin Kevala Sakya Moy. Lord Krishna's friends in Vrindavan, headed by Sridhama, have pure fraternal affection for Lord Krishna and have no idea of his opulences. This is the friendship in Vrindavan. There's no sense that Krishna is in any way superior. There are two kinds of friendship. Friendship where there's a little bit of respect, and friendship where there's no feeling of respect. Arjuna is a respectful friend of Krishna. He's friendly with Krishna, intimate friend. Still, he's conscious that Krishna is the supreme personality of God, and Krishna is superior. At least sometimes he has that understanding. But the coward friends of Krishna in Vrindavan have no such feeling at all. They feel themselves absolutely equal peers of Krishna. Krishna Sangye Dutakore Skande Arman Taratasya Pade Kore Chorana Sheman. Although they fight with him and climb upon his shoulders, they worship his lotus feet in a spirit of servitude. So this kind of spirit is not found in Vaikuntha or in the pastimes, in other pastimes, that the coward boys, they fight with him, they climb on his shoulders, they take the position of equals, absolute friends. But still, they worship Krishna in servitude. That will be described. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Adasangva anapchakru kechitasya mahatmanaha apareyam atapapmano Yanjanai Samajivayam. Some of the friends of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, massaged his feet, and others whose sinful reactions have been destroyed fanned him with handheld fans. Purport: this verse quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:15-17 describes how Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram were playing with the cowherd boys after killing Dhenugasura in Talavan. So they're friends, but still they want to serve Krishna. All of the relationships with Krishna in the spiritual world are relationships of service. Everyone knows, or everyone feels, the desire to serve Krishna. In Vaikuntha, this desire is respectful. Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Vrindavan, it's just out of love. Krishna is so wonderful that we want to serve him. Krishna prayasi braje jata gopivan jar padat uli kore uddhava kartam yan shavar upare Krishnera priya nahiyam tahara apanake kore tashi abhiman. Even the beloved girlfriends of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, the gopis, the dust of whose feet was desired by Sri Uddhava, and were more dear to Krishna than anyone else, regard themselves as Krishna's maidservants. They're the most exalted, but they think of themselves as insignificant servants of Krishna. Rajajanarti Vira Yoshita Nijajanasmaya Twamshana Smita Vajrashake Bhavat Kinkari Smano Jalaruhananam Charudarshaya. O Lord, remover of the afflictions of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, O hero of all women, O Lord, who destroy the pride of your devotees by your sweet, gentle smile. O friend, we are your maidservants. Please fulfill our desires and show us your attractive lotus face. Purport: this verse, in connection with the rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis, is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-6. When Krishna disappeared from his companions in the course of dancing, the gopis sang like this in separation from Krishna. So the relevant point for which the verse is quoted is Bhavat Kinkari, we're your servants. Ekali Ishwar Krishna, our Shabbat. Krishna is the one supreme controller, the supreme personality of Godhead, and everyone else is servant of Krishna. Ekala Ishwar Krishna, our Shabbat. Api Bata Madhu Puryam Arya Putro Tunaste. Let's see. Papi Patav Madhu Puryam Arya Putro Tunaste Smadati Sapitrigeham Saumya Bantum Jagodam Vachidavi Sakatamna Kinkarina Pranite Ujama Guru Sugandham Urjatasyat Kadam. O Uttava, it is indeed regrettable that Krishna resides in Mathura. Does he remember his father's household affairs and his friends, the cowherd boys? Oh, great soul, does he ever talk about us, his maidservants? When will he lay on our heads his aguru-scented hand? This verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-21 in the section known as the Brahmara Gita. When Uddhava came to Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, in complete separation from Krishna, sang like this. King Karina, the most relevant word is King Karina, where his servants. Does he remember us now that he's left Vrindavan and he's residing, unfortunately, in Mathura? Does he remember his friends, his parents, and us, his maidservants, the gopas? Ashavarkatarahu Srimati Radhika Shabhavete Shakalangshe Paramarika Terojar Tashivaya Shevena Chodon Jar Prema Mune Krishna Vata Manukam. What to speak of the other gopis? Even Sri Radhika, who in every respect is the most elevated of them all, and was bound to Sri Krishna forever by her loving attributes, serves at his feet as his maidservant. Anata Ramana Preshta Kwasi Kwasi Mahapuja Dasyaste Kripanayame Saket Arshya Sandhim. O my Lord, O my husband, O most dearly beloved, O mighty armed Lord, where are you? Where are you? O my friend, reveal yourself to your maidservant, who is very much aggrieved by your absence. Report this verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:39. When the rasa dance was going on in full swing, Krishna left all gopis and took only Srimati Radharani with him. At that time, all the gopis lamented, and Srimati Radharani, being proud of her position, requested Krishna to carry her wherever he liked. Then Krishna immediately disappeared from the scene, and Srimati Radharani began to lament. So again, the Dasyaste Kripanayami. Please reveal yourself, show yourself to Dasya, to your maidservants. Any questions so far?
We have something in the chat, Maharaj.
Yes.
It's only 12 miles to Mathura.
Excuse me?
It's only 12 miles to Mathura.
It's only 12 miles to Mathura.
So why didn't they just go and see?
Why didn't they just go there? They didn't go there because the whole mood is foreign. The relationship of Krishna and the gopis can't be relished in Mathura on account of the unsuitable atmosphere. Just like the husband leaves home and goes to the office, and it may be just 2 blocks away, but the wife can't go to the office to exchange affectionate feelings with her husband there. The whole context is unsuitable. So she's waiting, when will he come back home? Then there'll be joking, there'll be affectionate exchanges, but not at the office. So the relationship of Krishna with Nanda Maharaj and the gopis and so on is displayed in Vrindavan. It's displayed in Vrindavan. And therefore the inhabitants of Vrindavan are always desiring, when will Krishna come back? Yes.
Everywhere we see that when Mathura took Krishna away to Mathura, and Uddhava went there and messaged. But in Krishna book in the
Sorry, you have to speak a little more slowly because this fan is going and competing with you.
So in the Krishna book introduction, it is mentioned that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan.
Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So how is it that Akrura took Krishna to Mathura if Krishna never leaves Vrindavan? Yes. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but when Akrura comes to take him away, to kill Kamsa and so on, then Krishna expands himself as Vasudeva. So he's the same person, but when he leaves Vrindavan, he leaves in his Vasudeva feature. Krishna never steps foot outside Vrindavan. Vrindavanam Pratyaja Padamekam Megashti. For that matter, the Acharyas comment that Krishna, because of the love of the Brajvasis, Krishna was still with them. Even though they were feeling separation from Krishna, Krishna was present with them by their feelings of love. That means in his bhava expansion. They were experiencing Krishna's presence more intensely than when Krishna was actually present. And the saying is, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So they were experiencing Krishna's presence more intensely when they were separated from Krishna. This is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis, to follow in the footsteps of the Brajvasis in this feeling of separation. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is tasting this love and separation. And in that way, experiencing the highest love for Krishna and the most intense presence of Krishna. Okay. Yes.
I have like a very silly question.
Very loud.
I have a very naive question, please don't mind. So has this happened in the past, on Earth?
Has this pastime happened in the past on Earth?
Yes, or is it authored by Vyasadeva as his writings?
As
his, is he an author of?
Or is it authored by Vyasadeva essentially as fiction? So story.
Yeah, so it's so this everything actually happened.
Yes, this all happens. Vyasadeva has no interest in just telling imaginative tales. It's from the Bhagavad Purana. Purana means history. So these are historical incidents. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He appears on earth. That's called avatar. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhavata abhyutanam dharmasya taratmanam srijan. From time to time, I come person. So when he comes, what happens? What does he do? Vajranaya sadhuna, he saves the devotees. Vinashaya Chadushkritam, he kills demons like Kamsa. And Dharma Samstapana, and he establishes Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma in its ultimate form is love of Krishna, or service to Krishna. Service to Krishna in its most concentrated form is love for Krishna, loving service. So Krishna shows the standard of pure devotional service by his exchanges with the devotees in different relationships. So all of that was manifested by Krishna in Vrindavan, in Mathura, and in Dwarka. Yes.
So, is Krishna like, is this about pure devotional service or being in mode of goodness?
Is this about pure devotional service or being in the mode of goodness? It's about pure devotional service. Pragunya Vishya Veda and Pragunya in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says the three modes of material nature are still material. The Vedas are concerned with elevation, with pious activities, go up to the point of goodness. But no, Krishna advises Arjuna, don't stand on the platform of goodness. This Pragunya. Rise above even goodness. So these activities of pure devotional service take place on the transcendental platform, beyond goodness.
So goodness is definitely inferior to pure devotion.
Goodness is inferior to pure devotion. Yes.
Thank you.
Goodness is relatively good. There's goodness, there's passion, there's ignorance. Relatively, goodness is the best. But even goodness is material. And pure devotional service is beyond goodness. Sadhunam Samati Chaitam Brahmabhuyaya Gopate. Brahmabhuta Vasavat Shokshati. Madbhaktim Lavadeva. Higher than the mode of goodness is self-realization on the transcendental platform. And on the highest platform of self-realization is pure devotional service. Yes.
Maharaj, in this verse, it talks about Radharani feeling pride when Krishna had taken her aside. So how is that pride different from the
How is Radharani, it's mentioned in the verse, Radharani was feeling pride. How is that pride different from the pride in the material world? The pride in the material world, which comes from our connection with material nature. I'm proud that I have money. I'm proud that I have good looks. I'm proud that I have a beautiful girlfriend. I'm proud that I have such a big house. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of that. Even the father is proud of spending. Where comes that pride is generated from the illusory energy. It's pride in something temporary that actually has nothing to do with me. So it's a false pride. And it's an impediment to spiritual realization. But this pride of Srimati Radharani is generated from transcendental ecstasy by the arrangement of Krishna's internal potency over the mind. Radharani was present with Krishna alone. Krishna took her away from the whole scene of the rasa dance to be with her alone. So naturally she became a little proud. and then Krishna disappeared. So this was all, these are ecstatic feelings. In the spiritual world, there's pride also. The cowherd boys are boasting, I'm better than you. Krishna, you're a weakling. I can defeat you. It's a pride. This pride is transcendental. There's nothing to do with the material. It's generated from the loving Ishakti, the pleasure of Sri Krishna. Such a Bhava becomes proud. Very stormy personality. I think that gives pleasure to Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have one question. As you said, like the gopis are like thinking that I'm the best, like I'm the best, right? Like I'm better than you. But isn't it like how they're feeling proud? But isn't it in the spiritual world, everyone is a servant of a servant?
Asking if everyone's a servant of the servant, how is their pride that I am superior to you?
If everyone's servant of the servant, how is their pride in the spiritual world? The pride is also, well, first thing is, there's here, servant of the servant means I'm conscious that you're better than me, so I'm going to serve you. And you're my superior, you're older than me, you've been a devotee longer, or in some way, or just because I know that I should think of myself as very small and think of others as great. So I want to be servant of the servant. But in Vrindavan, they're servants, but not from this formal recognition. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here's where I am in the hierarchy. They just love Krishna, that's all. Nanda Maharaj, he's superior to Krishna. Krishna should be under him. But Nanda Maharaj wants to serve Krishna. Nanda Maharaj wants to serve. So not out of any formal analysis who deserves to be served by whom, out of spontaneous love. Out of spontaneous love. When we love someone, I just want to do something for you. I just want to make you happy. I just want to do something. There's no consideration, formalities. So that's the platform of the spirit. That's reflected only in the material world. But in the spiritual world, it's there. That there's this spontaneous, pure love for Krishna, in which everyone wants to serve him. They may be serving in the mood of friends. They may be serving in the mood of parents. They may be serving in the mood of wives, but they're serving. Everyone's serving. Not out of a sense that, yes, my true identity is that I'm a servant. I'm not this body. I'm not the supreme controller. I'm a servant. None of that. They just love Krishna and want to do something for him to make him happy. Is that okay? Yeah. Here in the temple, we very carefully follow rules and regulations because we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're his servants. So we try to see that everything is offered on time. Everything is very much in accordance with the scriptural rules and regulations, with the orders of the spiritual master. Vrindavan, none of that. They just love Krishna. They just love Krishna. Anything else? Yes.
It's a more technical question.
Hmm.
The dialogue between different devotees like Krishna and Arjuna and Maitreya and Shiva and Sukadeva Goswami, all these things appear in Bhagavatam and Mahabharata as the form of poetic.
Hmm.
So the discussion was it in prose or actually in shlokas?
The discussions between Uddhava and Krishna or Krishna and Arjuna, they appear as poetic verses. So is that how they were spoken, or were they spoken in some other way? I can't, they're presented as poems or as in poetic verse. I can't say more than that. That's how it's presented by the author. I have no authority to say, no, it wasn't actually spoken in poetry. Really, they spoke in prose. This is how it's presented. Yes.
Sometimes you hear the conversation actually took like 45 minutes. I've never-
Yeah, sometimes we hear that the Bhagavad Gita conversation took like 45 minutes.
I mean, I've never seen it written.
Yeah, 600 verses, so you could do the math and figure out how long it would take if you were speaking these verses. But you can chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Seems like 45 minutes is a little short, but you can chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita in maybe 10 minutes. 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the chapter, 12th chapter, you can chant just a few minutes. Others are longer. So 18 chapters. So 45 minutes, you really have to be pushing it. But say a couple of hours and it's done.
Because the battle was in, they're all ready to fight.
Yeah, they're all ready to fight, but things don't happen all boom, 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 boom. There was all this, there were first of all years leading up to the battle. And then, there's all this positioning and getting all the elephants in the right place and all of the soldiers and lining up. And then there's some tension there, we're waiting. And there were some other exchanges, offering obeisances by Arjuna to Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev. So, it's like I've seen, sometimes you see at that Tahrir Square, which is where all these things happened, you could see I used to take my morning walk in that neighborhood. So in the morning, you'd see all the police in their riot gear gathered around the central place and square. And then you'd see people on the sidelines heaping up their rocks that they were going to throw at the police and so on. And little in the distance, a couple blocks away, you see the ambulances. So everything's sort of getting lined up. And then at a certain point in the morning, okay, let's go. Somebody would throw something, somebody would do something, some group would rush on some other group, and then the fighting begins. So there's some setup coming. Okay, anything else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes. Great to speak.
Mahaprabhu said, follow the footprints of the gopis.
Mm.
And that is the highest worship of the Lord. Then the old like Uddhava or they were all great, but they didn't follow the footprints of the gopis.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. But it seems the great devotees like Uddhava and Vidura didn't do that. Of course, they can't imitate. Not that Uddhava can say, now I'm going to be a gopi, I'm going to embrace Krishna and dance with Krishna. He's Uddhava, he's not a gopi. Vidura is a sage, he's not a gopi. But they could appreciate these things. And Uddhava was praying to be like a creeper in Vrindavan, like some grass in Vrindavan, just to get the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. He didn't think that directly, let me be a gopi too, but let me get the mercy of the gopis, let me get the dust of their lotus feet, so that I might have some semblance of that kind of love for Krishna. Following in the footsteps doesn't mean imitating. There are two things, anukar and anushar. Anushar means imitating. And Anushar means taking the essence and following. So Anukar is not very much appreciated. Anushar. We have to follow from according to our position, not presume that we're also fit to the higher position. The better approach is to always take the lower position. The Prakrita Samajiyas take the approach of pretending to be in the higher position. They want to be gopis, so they dress up like gopis. Bhakti Purushottam Swami jokes that you're dressing up like gopis, but you're dressing up like gopis. What will you do when Krishna wants to play Vastrahara? So we're not meant to imitate, pretend. That's the Sajya path, to pretend to be on that elevated platform, to presume to be on that elevated platform. And the teachings of the Goswamis is to be, to take the lower position. Take the lower position. From the lower position, we'll get more mercy. We take the higher position, we just get kicked out, rejected. What kind of gopi are you? Nonsense. But when we take the lower position, then we may get some mercy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching is like that let us take the lower position. Gopi Bharta Padakamayo Dasa Dasa. Now there's a question in the chat box. Let's see if I see it. In verse 64, Prabhupada said, does the phrase, others whose sinful reaction has been destroyed, refer to sadhana siddha devotees? Let's look at text 64. Apare hatapatmana, whose sinful reactions have been killed. Hatapatmana, whose sinful reactions have been destroyed. Yes, it can be taken like that. Krita punya punja, after acquiring heaps and heaps of pious activities, some very fortunate beings are allowed to play with Krishna as his friends. Or why sadhana? They may be sadhana, maybe kripa also, because simple reactions can be destroyed by Krishna's mercy, the mercy of the devotee. Maybe by sadhana, maybe by kripa, but destroyed. Okay. Let's see, back to where we was, so to speak. And Praveen says, so devotees and other rasas can follow in the footsteps of the gopis. That follow in the footsteps means how they're serving Krishna with such love and devotion. The devotees and other rasas don't want to follow in the footsteps by performing the same kind of service, but the same, but service, ultimately service is one. Service is service. Just like here in the temple, someone's the pujari, someone's the cook, someone's the temple commander. But it's all the same, everyone's servant. So someone may think, I wish I could have the devotion of that pujari. I wish I could have as much devotion as that cook. So they aspire, I wish I were a devotee like that. But it doesn't mean that they want to be the cook or they want to be the pujari. They may be happy that I'm the temple commander. I wouldn't want to be the cook. I have my service. I'm the cook. I wouldn't want to be the temple commander. But I wish I had the devotion of this other devotee. Coward boys don't desire. I wish I could be a gopi. They're happy as coward boys. But they so much appreciate how gopis are serving. Yes.
If you can enlighten how we are Rupanugas.
How are we Rupanugas?
Also, I was hearing one bhajan, Shri Rupa Manjari Pade.
Shri Rupa Manjari Pade. You're hearing that. Rupanugas means, first of all, we have to follow. Rupanuga means we follow the servants of Sri Rupa Goswami. Not just that we at once jump to Sri Rupa Goswami, but to become Rupanuga, one has to become Rupanuga. The follower of Rupa Goswami. Not that directly we become followers, but through the Parampara system, through the disciple succession, we become followers of Rupa Goswami. So we serve Rupa Goswami under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. That's the Rupanupata, the path of the followers of Rupa. He himself says in Bhakti-rasamrita, Alo Guru Padashram. The beginning is to take shelter of the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master. So to follow Rupa Goswami, we have to follow the follower of Sri Rupa Goswami. What did we know about Rupa Goswami? Never heard the name Rupa Goswami. But we're following the follower, we're following Srila Prabhupada, we're following the followers of Srila Prabhupada. We're following their predecessor acharyas, going back to Sri Rupa Goswami. So this is our method. Rupa Goswami is giving profound teachings, starting from the most basic up to the most advanced. So we can't just say, I'm a follower of Rupa Goswami, I'm going to the most advanced. Now I've enrolled in school, I'm going to the top level PhD level. But first I have to go through all of the different stages. So Sri Rupa Goswami has given nectar of devotion, so many books. So we have to patiently follow the instructions given there. What is devotion service? How do we practice devotion and service? And what are the different stages of devotion and service? What are the offenses to avoid in devotional service? What are the different limbs of devotional service? One has to learn the science. One has to learn the science of devotional service. Then, as one advances, one can understand more and more. I remember Srila Prabhupada announced that he was going to be giving lectures from Nectar of Devotion at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. It was maybe 1973 or something like that, 72, 73. So, Nectar of Devotion, I was involved in some of the editing for Nectar of Devotion. I was thinking, wow, we're really going to get some. Prabhupada will be speaking on very advanced topics. So Prabhupada went to Vrindavan and spoke every day at Radha Damodar Temple to this kind of devotees who were with him. starting from the most basic. He didn't jump up to the, but we want to keep that feeling that we're not so qualified. Not that we become very proud that yes, I can understand everything. I'm practically on the level of Gopi Pop. It's just now coming. And keep that humble mood. That's also the teaching of the true Krishna. Abundant thought and good find. So, Bhagavad Gita, when the items of knowledge are mentioned, the first one is humility. Yes.
If someone is in more of goodness, what should they avoid to go into pure devotional service?
If someone's in the mode of goodness, what should they avoid to go into the mode of goodness? Mental speculation. Pure devotional service is Jnana Karma free from the spirit of sense enjoyment and free from mental speculation. But when we're in passion, then we're very much interested in sense gratification. We want to taste this, we want to feel that, we want to see this. But when we come to the mode of goodness, then the trap is mental speculation. It seems to me this, it seems to me that. And especially we can speculate in such a way that we arrive at some impersonal conclusion. So different from Krishna. Or so many different ideas. A mental platform, the subtle body. There's subtle sense gratification. So one has to become Jnana Karma free from sense gratification, free from mental speculation. Panchatattva says, Panchatattva Das. Bhishma was in a different rasa than the gopis, but he appreciated them so much. Bhagavatam 1940. And yes, we find that when Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows, just about to leave this world, then he expressed his appreciation, the exalted position of the goodness. Thank you for that. Let me read another verse. Dvarakate Rukminyari Jyoteka Mahishi Karao Apanake Mani Krishna Dashi. In Dwarkadham, all the queens, headed by Rukmini, also consider themselves maidservants of Lord Krishna. So we had heard about the cowherd boys being in the mood of servants. We heard about the gopis being in the mood of the servants of Krishna. Now the queens, headed by Rukmini Devi. Chayaya Marpayitum Ujyatakam Keshu Jas Vajaya Atase Karitam Virenu Ninye Ragendra Iva Pavam Ajavi Yutat Tatri Niketa Chalamostu Mamarchanaya. When Jarasandha and other kings, bows and arrows upraised, stood ready to deliver me in charity to Shishupal, Krishna forcibly took me from their midst, as a lion takes its share of goats and sheep. The dust of his lotus feet is therefore the crown of unconquerable soldiers. May those lotus feet, which are the shelter of the goddess of fortune, be the object of my worship. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1083:8 was spoken by Queen Rukmini. So she's, and as we'll find in the coming verses, the queens are all in that mood of worshiping Krishna, serving Krishna. Tapascharanti margyaya svapada sparshanashraya shaktopetya grahit panim sadhagrahavarjani. Knowing me to be performing austerities with the desire to touch his feet, he came with his friend Arjuna and accepted my hand. Yet I am but a maidservant, engaged in sweeping the floor of the house of Sri Krishna. Purport. Like the previous verse, this verse appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 1083:11, in connection with the meeting of the family ladies of the Kuru and Yadu dynasties at Samanta Panchaka. At the time of that meeting, the queen of Krishna named Kalindi spoke to Draupadi in this way. This history is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. When there was a solar eclipse, then Krishna, along with so many associates from Dwarka, went to Kurukshetra. People used to go to holy places like Kurukshetra at the time of the solar eclipse. So Krishna went there. Then members of the Yadu dynasty, Guru dynasty, and the Brajvasis also went to Kurukshetra to see Krishna. So at that time, the Draupadi got to meet with the women, the queens of Krishna from Dwarka. And ladies, they talk about their children, they talk about their husbands, they talk about their marriage. So Draupadi was asking, how is it that Krishna, that you got to marry Krishna, that you got Krishna as your husband? Men meet, they want to know, how did you start your business? How's your bottom line? What do you think of you doing that? Somebody. So they were talking, the ladies, about how so the queens were saying that each one had their history, and they're giving that history. Krishna, because I was performing tapasya in the Jamuna, Krishna accepted me, but now I'm Griya Marjani, not queen. They don't say, this is how I became Krishna's queen. Rukmini didn't say, this is how I became the principal queen of Krishna. This is how I became Griha Marjani, a sweeper, a cleaner in Krishna's palace. They all took that humble mood, that I may be considered queen, but really I'm just Krishna's humble servant. That's the mood of pure devotional service. So we're now at 3 minutes to 8. We usually have a little bit of kirtan and then we stop. This class goes on Chaitanya Caritamrta every Thursday, and there's a class in Srimad Bhagavatam Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's been going since the time of the pandemic. And anyone who wishes is welcome to attend. You can find the login information at on my website, jayswami.info/itinerary. It's also later posted, that's live on Zoom, and then it's later posted on, in fact, it's live on Zoom and on YouTube. And it's also archived on YouTube. So those who have an interest, you are all welcome. And I have to run over to the other building because there's another program going on. But if you would like to have, what happens here? A little kirtan here? Are we all rushing over there? What straight us through? What are we doing?
They want to go, they can go there. After this, we'll have actually. Prashad.
And after this, we'll have prasad here. So that means people may be quite interested in staying here. So if you'd like to have a little kirtan now, then we'll hear it to finish up.
You have to go there.
Yeah, so I'm going to close my laptop after about 30 seconds to go over to the next building. So for those who are online, thank you very much. And for those who are here in person, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. I might like to suggest to our online folks, I have to pack up, but maybe you'd like to have kirtan to end up our program as usual with Harinam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
That's okay. So you have.
Okay, we're gonna go.
So is Purva Prabhu going to lead a kirtan for us?
Okay, sure.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Parivajikacharya Stuta Sadashi Shiman is divine grace, Shila Bhakti Divinanta Swami, Shila Prabhupada ki. Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Stuta Sadashi Shiman is divine grace, Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Jai Anantagoti Vaidya. Founder Acharya Shila Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur ki. Krishna Caitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Jayadvaita Swami, Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki. Krishna Gopinath, Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Rama ki. Shri Madhava ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Shri Gandhamai ki. Jamuna ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Srimati Bhakti Maharani ki, Shri Ram Sankirtan ki,
Jai.
Madanga, Transcendental Bhakti Shri ki, Prashad Sankirtan ki, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta ki.
Jai.
All glories to the simple devotees,
Hare
all
Krishna.
glories to the simple devotees,
Hare
all
Krishna.
glories to the simple devotees,
Hare
all
Krishna.
Guru and Guranga, Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Purvan Kamalini Prabhu's ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnav Sangha ki jai.
Jai Jai.
Jai. Jai.
Thank you everyone for being, and hope to see you tomorrow, which is Friday, for Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Hare Bol.
Hare.
You know.